I thought we left this. This feeling. I thought it was gone.
What a quack.
Let's get this sucker started.
Get dialed in, Panthers fans. Here comes an in-depth look at your team. Exclusive interviews. Locker room insight. Ready? Let's huddle up.
Let's just do it, okay?
For Panthers Playbook, driven by Carolina Ford Dealers. Here are your hosts, Dennis Cox and Chris Lea.
Welcome back to another episode of Panthers Playbook. That's Chris Lea, Dennis Cox here with you. By the way, just go in the comment section, vent, because that's what we're going to do right here. So leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit that subscribe button while you're at it. But also, remember, Carolina Ford Dealers is your sponsor of Panthers Playbook. With the Ford F-150 on your team, it's game on. See your Carolina Ford dealer today. Chris, what the duck was that? My goodness. God, that just all three phases of the game sucked. Call it what it is. Overall, it sucked. There are a couple of like a play here or there. You're like, oh, that was nice. Oh, that was nice. But other than that, terrible.
We've talked about before how bad the defense is.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't have JC Horn, we don't have Josie Jewell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just you're taking away so much just with those two players alone, and asking everybody else to kind of step up. And we've talked about it before. Like a lot of these guys, most of these guys are Jags. You know what I'm saying?
Just a guy.
Especially on defense. And you know what? This is a day I don't even know if I'm necessarily mad at Ejiro Evero. You know, it's just like not having JC Horn there, not having Josie Jewell there. You know, I kind of expected this, and then finding out yesterday that Chuba Hubbard wasn't going to play, he's going to be shut down for the season. I had a little inkling in my head that Dave Canales was like, I don't have to run the ball now. So it's like, and that's what he did. He was like, oh gosh, I don't have to call these dumb running plays. We could just have Bryce just air it out and do it the way I like it. So, I mean, that's the result that we got. The offense didn't help the defense at all. And knowing that the defense needs help. You remember when the defense was like the best thing on the Panthers team and the defense helped the offense?
Yeah.
The offense isn't helping the defense at all.
There's
no concept of helping the defense. So this is the result we get because of it.
Yeah, it was amazing how the very first drive for Tampa Bay to start the game, it was like practice. They marched right down the field. And like all those injuries you mentioned, take away the decent players, the good players that are already on a bad defense, you take them away, you got what you got today. It looked like a preseason out there. But for Tampa, they marched right down the field first drive. I actually liked the first drive for Carolina. There was tempo. It was run, pass, run, pass, run, pass. You got a touchdown pass from Bryce Young to Adam Thielen. I was like, okay. I liked the tempo in which they went with it. Defense actually held Tampa to a field goal when they got into the red zone. The next two drives for Carolina's offense were 6 plays, 0 runs called. Now, I know Bryce had a scramble. I'm talking called runs. The first drive, 6 plays, 3 run, 3 pass. 3 designed, called runs, 3 passes. The next 6 plays, all dropbacks. And sure enough, 3 and out. Before you know it, you're down 13-7, and then things eventually got away for you. Before you know it, it's 27-7, and it's all gone from there.
Let's go through this. All right. 33 first downs to 13. We don't even have to say who got more. 551 yards to 204 yards. 349 passing yards to 165. 202 rushing yards to 39.
5th straight game, Carolina's defense has allowed 200-plus rushing yards. Go on.
40 rushing attempts to 13. 41 minutes and 11 seconds in time of possession to 18:49. When I talk about like the offense helping the defense, like I had somebody who tweeted back at me. I was like, they've already abandoned the run. This was in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, with no Chuba, what do you expect them? You expect any of these guys to change the game? And I'm not asking for them to change the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking for you to buy your defense, some time.
Yeah.
There were so many 3 and outs in this game. Mike Boone had 2 decent runs and they looked okay. He got 10, 11 yards out of those 2 runs.
Mm-hmm.
So he's averaging 5 per run. And those were the only 2 times he got the ball handed off to him. Raheem Blackshear has been out of practice pretty much the entire year. They just started running him the last game. So he didn't have his best game, but still, I mean, how many attempts did he have? Only
8? He had
8 attempts.
Yeah. And 3 came on the very first drive, by the way.
It's not good enough. I don't care that Chuba is not playing. It's just not good enough. Yeah. And even if I was talking about before, there's not a lot of creativity in the run. They were running that sweep before with what's my man? I didn't see him
Devin Tompkins.
Devin Tompkins.
Yeah, he was a scratch.
And so, they didn't have him in there because, and now you don't have the sweep that you've ran before. I've seen him run it 1 or 2 times with Xavier Legette.
Yeah.
But it's like there's not really much that is putting stress on the defense here.
Mm-mm.
When it's just Bryce Young drop back and make something happen. Which, by the way, with what he had, he made some lemonade out of these lemons, man.
Oh, yeah.
He made some lemonade out of these lemons. But that's the part. We can't keep expecting him to do that. We've got to help him out, and the offense has to help out the defense.
We bring this up when it comes to Derrick Brown on the defense, right? We're like, Derrick Brown's not there. That's why the defense stinks. Is Chuba Hubbard
depending on one person?
Exactly. Is that the same thing with Chuba Hubbard? Are we that dependent on one person? That the offense can't move, that the offense can't even be decent in the run game where you can't, hey, we're going to still try and run the football so we can have a play action. It was 7-7 or 10-7 the second time they got the ball. 3 plays and out. All 3 again were designed passes. Tampa goes down, kicks a field goal. Still 1 possession game. The next drive, 3 plays, all passes out. Before you know it, it gets away from you right away. It's like, are we that dependent on one guy? One guy? You're that dependent on him? Because right now, that dude, you didn't pay him enough by all accounts then. If that's the case.
No.
If that's the case, you didn't pay him enough.
No, not at all.
Gosh,
my God.
That's the thing that blows my mind. That's the thing that blows my mind is if you take that one dude off the field and it's just everything turns into a disaster from a play calling standpoint, scheme, the whole thing. That's something I can't, that's something I can't wrap my head around, Chris. I just can't wrap my head around that.
I'm with you.
Sign that duck.
This is sign that duck, please,
man.
It worked well for Tampa Bay. There are probably some people, and I've had some people who tweeted at me who aren't so mad at it because, for them, it's all about the draft picks.
Sure.
But again, it goes back to what we were saying before. Keep this team and the guys that's on this team used to winning and in winning situations. That will definitely carry over momentum until next year. And there's once again through the wins that they have had, 4 of them, and even in the losses that they've had. I'm trying to think of a situation or a game where I think that Dave Canales coached his ass off. What did you do? What adjustments did you make? What did you do within the game and the game plan and the planning and all that to make everything happen? Because really, a lot of it that we can point back to, especially with a couple of their wins, are the other team messing up.
Oh yeah.
and then you have an awesome game from Bryce Young and an awesome game from Chuba Hubbard. At what point does the coaching staff step up? Yeah. This is we can talk about the players all we want. And again, I'm laying off of Ejiro Evero. Now I'm just looking at the head guy right now. Yeah. Because if your team keeps showing up in games like this, that's on you. This isn't just a team. This is on you. This is how you're managing the game. This is how you're managing their week heading into it. Just because Horn and Chuba Hubbard and Josie Jewell are not available, that shouldn't spell blowout. It shouldn't be 48-14 because of that, because of those 3 guys. And so, listen, and let me clarify because people like to jump out the window. I'm not saying fire him. I've always said he needs 2 years minimum. But there's some glaring things that he needs to work on as a head coach. Boy.
Oh, yeah. Very much
Ooh.
so. I mean, we've hit the roster holes massively. The lack of depth, we've already said it.
And who else has hit the roster holes massively? Every other team's running game.
Yeah.
They're hitting the holes massively.
5th straight game allowing 200 yards, Chris. 5th straight game allowing 200 plus yards.
Bro, it's not sustainable.
It's just and people are trying to defend Evero. Like I'll go on Evero here right quick. Mike, you can't defend this. You just can't defend this. You can't. There's no way, shape, or form you go into the next season going, run it back, boys. Let's go. You can't. There's no way you can do that. Even if you overhaul the roster, what if it still stinks again next year? Then you're just going to be right where you are right now. Like that.
But this is
the thing.
But this is the thing, though. That's when you can tell, like, who's doing a great coaching job. When you have nothing available to you, and you're still like, okay, a couple years ago, this point of the season, when the Panthers are possibly trying to get sneak into the playoffs under Steve Wilkes, right? That defense really only had J.C. Horn was hurt by this time. That defense only really had Brian Burns and Derrick Brown.
Yeah, Louvu was there.
Frankie Louvu. Sorry, forgot that's my guy too.
Jeremy Chin.
Like Jeremy Chin when he was last used well, but still, even with that defense, we weren't looking at it talking about how amazing that defense was. And look at the coaching job that one man did to bring the entire roster up to that's the difference that I'm really talking about. Going back to what I said before, there's a lot of those games where you look at it and it's like Steve Wilkes put his team in position and willed out some wins that they probably should not have gotten. And that was because of Steve Wilkes, right? Had nothing to do with other teams just messing up at the end of the game. You got 2 wins this year because 2 teams messed up, right? Like, and then after that, it's just like a couple of your players just kind of rising to the occasion. At what point, Canales, you're talking about Evero, what point do they rise to the occasion? What point do they outcoach what they have on available to them on the roster?
Yeah.
Right? Like that is a sign of a good coach and a good coaching staff. At what point do we have one more week left of this? Come on, man.
Yeah.
There's got to be some pride somewhere. We know that there's no playoffs. That's been long gone. Yeah.
You talk about lack of personnel and different things like that, and then coaches being able to elevate that. I'm talking about there's the standard, the saying in Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin. Remember the years where they still had winning records with guys like Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges and Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett at quarterback? I know they still had some dudes like TJ Watt and Cam Hayward on defense and Minka Fitzpatrick. I get that. But you still had winning records with those guys I just mentioned. Like, eventually, this is the one thing that I think is the next step for Canales as head coach. And the final thing I'll say. You have to be more than just a play caller, dude. You're the head coach of the freaking team. You got to elevate everyone on the roster. You can't just be an offensive guy with the title of head coach. You have to be more than that. You either need to step into Evero's meetings and say, fix this right now, do something different right now because what you're doing ain't working. They just had 200 plus yards rushing again for the 5th straight game. Don't talk about, it's about our fundamentals or get back to our fundamentals. Well, your fundamentals suck. I'll just say that. Fix it, man. Walk over there down the hall. Be more than just an offensive coordinator, which is basically what you are right now. You're a glorified OC with the head coach title. Fix the damn thing. This is on you as a head coach. Fix it. Dennis, be more than just an offensive coach.
Dennis, I can't believe what I'm about to say right now. We need David Tepper to step in and be like, yo, get rid of this guy. Like, we need something different. Like,
you have to, man.
Because, Dave, for real, let's look eye to eye. For real. Right if you think that's good enough, Mr. Tepper, you got to step in. This is maybe the only time I'm going to ask you to do that. Please, we need some more concerts in Charlotte. Step in. Okay? The running water is not enough. We need to stop the run. Step in.
We need some infrastructure around here, man.
We need some infrastructure, and we need guys who can have some gap integrity. Step in. Okay?
I need more restaurants.
I saw police officers tackle men uptown Charlotte. Go get them and bring them on.
Might be the best tackle.
The police officers are tackling dudes in uptown Charlotte. Bring them in. Step in. Mr. Tepper, where you at?
Again, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Just vent.
You can knock hats off of people's head, but your defense can't put a hat on a hat. Step in.
We're going to end it right there. Carolina Ford Dealer, your sponsor, Panthers Playbook with the Ford F-150 on your team as game on. See your Carolina Ford Dealer today. Chris, we will see you in the new year. We'll see you.
This is how we're going to end the new year.
This is how we're ending 2024, man.
It's crazy. We went into Christmas amazing. This is how we're going to end. Hey, man. I love you, Dennis. 2024 has been amazing for us both for this podcast. Thank you all for watching, listening, all of that. We got one more game left. And then we're going to do a lot of chatting in the offseason about what we need. Lots of chatting.
We'll see you in the new year.